Kim David is with us, Chairman of the Oklahoma Corporation Commission. Chairman David, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
Glad to have you and enjoying the conference and learning a lot today. First, tell us about what the Oklahoma Corporation Commission does. What's your purview?
Well, the Corporation Commission in Oklahoma, as many commissions do across many different states, but we regulate the oil and gas industry, we regulate utilities, and of course, as we're learning here today, those are very closely aligned and need to be closely aligned. And then we have railroad crossings, we have transportation, we have cotton gins, you name it. We touch about 85% of Oklahoma's economy. So
incredible. Yeah. So I'm trying to, just from our world, like a public service commission kind of thing?
Yes.
But a little broader, it sounds like.
We are, a couple of states will split out, like the oil and gas industry or the transportation side with a different organization. Water in some states is really big. In Oklahoma, we regulate very, very little bit of water. We have a water board that does a lot of that. But other than that, we're very comprehensive here in the state of Oklahoma in what we regulate.
Sounds like a combination of our Public Service Commission and the Department of Mineral Resources a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense. Tell me your thoughts on this conversation about powering AI and energy.
Oh, this conversation is huge right now. It's on all of our minds, especially at the state level. You know, a lot of conversations have been happening about how important it is at the federal level to get the regulatory environment out of the way, be able to speed up the permitting process. We all are hearing from besides our big data centers and the AI companies and the big manufacturers wanting to move in, how we have got to start building power plants and what that power plant's going to be. And it looks like right now natural gas will be the big player in that to meet that need. But then it comes down to, at the state level, you've got all that regulatory environment when you start looking at who protects the residential ratepayer from this build out, who ensures that we don't have stranded assets, and what do we need to do at the state level to make sure that we're part of building out this process and we're not in the way. Because even Oklahoma, as being what I would call a red state, we're very supportive of the oil and gas industry, and we always have been. If we're not careful, we could be the stumbling block of trying to get industry moving into our state and being able to get those generation plants built out. So we have to step up our game too, and what that looks like at the state level and what it looks like when it comes to the billing of those utility bills. Who's going to pay for that build out, and how does it affect the residential ratepayer?
How hard is that conversation? Because one would argue if Google and Meta and Amazon say, we pick you, right, Chairman David, it's great for the economy, it's jobs, it's the future opportunities for kids and grandkids, but they don't really want to pay $1 or $2 more
right,
kilowatt hour, right?
Everybody wants the best deal possible, and I get that. I'm a businesswoman. I understand when businesses come in, especially in a state like Oklahoma. You heard from our governor this morning. It said, we want business here. We are a business-friendly state. So I push back on the governor and say, well, what type of policies are you going to put in place to help that business so that it's maybe the host state's taking on that burden to help cover that cost of getting that business here, and it's not the residential ratepayer. So that's kind of where I come in. So sometimes I'm the good guy, sometimes I'm the bad guy. We're also, the conversations my staff and I have and the other regulators that work with me have are, how can we speed up that process? How can we become more efficient? And we've got to think outside the box. Now, our utility companies just want us to go away, and they want to be able to do it however they can get it done as quickly as possible, but that's not how it works either. So,
getting to this AI data center, getting our arms around it, I guess, a little bit, has proved a little challenging because there was sort of an arms race at the beginning of Bitcoin and all these sort of flavor of the month ways to do it, and it seems to me like we've sort of pumped the brakes a little bit here to say, well, wait a minute. Are all the pieces in place?
And they're not.
Right, and there's been some sort of false starts. Am I right?
Right, because, and it's not just building that power generation out. You have to have transmission lines. So then we start seeing that pushback at the residential level of, well, not in my backyard. I don't want a big transmission line going through my backyard. You have states that push back on pipelines. You know, I don't want a pipeline. It's going to take pipelines. It's going to take transmission lines. So it's also, how do we win the public over in this race to be able to, because they love AI. You know, everybody's got their computer, they've got their iPad, they've got their, you know.
ChatGPT.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love ChatGPT. Even as old as I am.
Oh, I do too.
It's the coolest thing ever, right? So we all want to use it, which means we're all going to have to give a little, even at that residential level of where do we build those transmission lines and where do we put those pipelines.
How are you having that conversation in Oklahoma? How are you talking to the farmer, the rancher, the oil field?
You know, and that's where it behooves me to get out and meet with those groups individually, meet with the farmers and ranchers, Farm Bureau, those types of organizations, do town halls to let people know what's happening and why it's beneficial. So, like I said, you have to win that whole support from the ground up. It's real easy to just say, well, it's all going to come down from the top, but it's really not. You need that part from the top down, but I guess it's more my job to do it from the bottom up and making sure we have the local support that we need. And you know, the utility companies have to do their part also. And I've had great conversations with our companies here in Oklahoma about if we have town hall meetings, I need you to be there. I need you to talk to my constituents. We're statewide elected.
And your customers.
And yes,
yeah.
And I'm a customer too. But yes, but we have to be able to get out there and explain to them what's happening and why it's needed.
If I'm Amazon and I need mega amounts of computing power and data centers, and I come to Chairman David, the Oklahoma Corporation Commission, what's your pitch to them? What is your, I mean, do you have what they need now to do this, and how quickly can you do it?
Well, and that's the problem, is we don't have immediately what they need. The question today is, how soon can we get it built? So when we're talking about that permitting process at the federal level, now moving from 2 years to 2 weeks, which is what Secretary Burgum has now said, that's fantastic. I mean, that lets up a huge gap of what we would have to just sit here and kind of cool our heels on at the state level for that to happen first. So if that could be moved to 2 weeks, then we at the state level start looking at, okay, what do we have to do here? And that's that public support of where are we going to build it? Because these are huge power plants. And then it's like, and how do we plug you into the system? Transmission lines. So then we have an RTO. We have to deal with the Southwest Power Pool. So there's so many moving parts. I wish it was as simple as saying, well, we'll just build it. There are so many moving parts when it comes to, like I said, the pipeline companies, the RTO, you've got Southwest Power Pool. So once we get everybody to the table, and I really believe that everybody's willing to do it, it's truly who brings everybody to the table to keep all that conversation going.
Kevin O'Leary was in North Dakota last week and talked a lot about stranded natural gas, land, water, climate, all the pieces that you need, good regulatory environment and all that. He had a theory that North Dakota and Oklahoma have so much in common that there should be maybe an alliance of sorts to say, how do we do this together? What do you think?
I agree. I absolutely agree. We do have a lot in common. We have the resources. We have the pipelines. We have the water. We have what we need here too. No, that's absolutely right. States need to play to their strengths when it comes to this. Some states are big nuclear power plant states. Great. We are not. So I'm like, if we could all play to our strengths and then work together. And those of us who have those same capabilities, if we could join forces and help each other out on how we're doing this and getting it done quicker, that's the best way of doing it. We can't live within our own borders.
And we have a little bit of a friendly battle with our friends in Texas over the 1, 2, 3 spot of oil and gas production, and New Mexico snuck up on number 2 on us. So, you know, I know there's a bit of a rivalry between Texas and Oklahoma too. So
a little bit.
Yeah, but maybe we could align there. It'd be fun to see that happen in the future, just to be able to, because all this has to happen so fast.
And we could align and tell Texas that, hey, we're just as big as you are now.
Exactly right.
Like it.
Yeah, I think landmass would be close. You know, we'd be close, and all of this has to happen quickly, doesn't it?
It does. It absolutely does. It really needed to happen yesterday, and that's the problem. Is now where it's not like we're looking into the future of what we're going to do. No, it needs to happen yesterday. So how do we get there as quickly as possible?
Madam Chairman, thanks for the time.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.